Well, good morning on this Monday morning. Trusting you all had a good weekend. And this week, I want to speak to you about the growing fear that is all around us. There is so much fear that is happening around us as a result of this virus, this pandemic that we are faced with. And I felt I needed to speak about the aspect of fear, the fear that grips our heart, that holds us captive at times, enabling us to move forward into the blessings that God has in store for us. Now, fear, what is fear? Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm. Now, there is much danger out there. That is why so many people are isolating themselves these days from the virus, keeping themselves away from other people. Now, let me say from the outset of this talk, God never created man to be isolated. God created man to be a social being, to fellowship with each other. This virus has kept us from this. Now, as a result of that, we are controlled by the fear that man is telling us, and as because this fear has become so great, we find ourselves isolated from that what God really intended for us to do, and that is to fellowship among each other. Now, we have all encountered the fear of this pandemic in our life, caused nations to be placed in lockdown. We've never seen this in all of our lives, in the history of humanity. We have never been in a place that we find ourselves in today. Now, this fear has not stopped, but has continued to escalate to a point of many isolations from society. We see it again now. Even our nation is struggling to bring back tourists into our country. Even us, as a nation desiring to travel to the UK, we cannot do that because of this pandemic. So nations are keeping each other out of their boundaries as well. And this is creating even more fear at the end of the day. Now, the fear has not stopped, but it's continuing. It's cutting ourselves off from our family and friends, even in church life, that where we should be together, fellowshipping on Sundays, we find that the church is not doing this anymore. In fact, we see so many people preferring to stay at home watching church online, not coming together the way God had ordained. Again, I believe that the church needs to be a body that functions together, that we come together to worship God together as a body. Now, again, Hebrews says, neglect not the gathering together of the saints, as some have done and have fallen asleep. And again, that falling asleep has died. Spiritually, we find that the church is in a spiritual decline as a result of man isolating himself. Now, one of my favorite Bible verses found about fear is in Psalm 46, 1 and 2. Listen to what the psalmist writes. He says, God is our refuge and our strength and an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. Now, again, we need to come back that God is our strength. God is the source of our strength. God will help us through our troubles. Now, we are in a troubled time. Who do we put our faith and our trust in? This is what we've got to come back to. Do we put our faith and our trust in God? Now, we have to put our faith and our trust in God. You see, the driving fear behind this virus, the next person I meet could infect me. And as a result of that, I don't want to meet people. I don't want to mingle with people. I don't want to fellowship with people. And so we find this growing fear in society, and that of keeping each other safe by not even shaking hands or hugging. And this is so awkward as Christians, because, you know, as Christians, we love to hug, we love to shake hands, we love to put our arms around one another. And this fear, again, of this pandemic has kept us of really expressing who we are. Now, we find that technology has become the driving force, keeping so many in society in a place of isolation. Everything today is done online. Not so crazy to think that once upon a time in my life, this was really kind of sci-fi, to think that you could speak to people and you could see them on the other side of the screen. This is happening. We find technology is growing and growing. Technology is growing and becoming the giant that are keeping people from socializing, keeping people working from home, keeping people from shopping in person and personal interaction. We are now locked behind a device. That is where people have become. We locked behind. I mean, funerals have been done on Zoom. People don't even come together in funerals anymore like they used to because the fear of this pandemic. But again, technology is in actual fact isolating us from each other. Now, I need to say this. Man was never created to be isolated. So we got to come back to that and know this, that man was created to be a being that will fellowship with each other. And so again, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say to you this on this Monday morning. Do not allow fear to control your life, but allow faith to override fear in your life. If you are fearful, then I want you to allow faith to grow in your life. We will speak about that a little bit more again tomorrow.